Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. And today I have a special, special guests, and I'm so excited. Truly, I've been waiting for a minute to get to interview you ladies, and I'll get into the why in just a minute. But today I have Victoria and Nerissa with me. I want to talk about staging. This interview is intended to help benefit agents as well as home sellers. So if you're thinking about selling your home, because not every home seller knows this, and I don't want to just wait for the agent to communicate this, right? Let's go straight to the home seller.
Yeah. Tell them what they need to know.
Right?
Yep.
But please share, just give me a quick introduction, both of you ladies. I'd like everybody to get to know you.
Well, I'm Victoria Taylor. I'm the owner and founder of the Redefined Home. We are entering our 11th year in business.
Wow.
It was a business that I started in my garage during my divorce, so that was awesome. But we have grown, and I'm just really proud of where we are. I'm so grateful with everybody that I have surrounding me, including you two ladies. Nerissa Ruiz is my business development manager.
That I am.
My little bestie. But also she's a licensed agent with about the same amount of time in the industry, right?
About a decade, right? I started off 10 years ago, and it's been a journey. But yeah, I've been in the industry for a little bit and started doing business development for women-owned businesses. And so now I do business development for this lovely lady here.
Yes. And it's for me, it's been a game changer because she does all the things that I can't or don't want to do.
I love that. That's a whole other interview right now.
Yeah. Self-promotion is really hard for me, and I just kind of dip out of it if I can. And so she's the one forcing me, like, get out there, teach the classes, let's go. Nice. As a matter of fact, she scheduled this interview. So.
I know she did.
I was like, oh, is that for me?
Yesterday she was like, we're leaving an event, and she's like, I see this on the calendar, what is it? And I'm like, it's a podcast, you're going to talk on it. What am I going to talk about? Staging. And she's like, can I have more details? And I'm like, do you need more details?
Not really.
It's what you do.
It's all good. So here we are.
But that's something I love about her. She'll just show up, and she has all the knowledge, so she loves sharing it. So I'm like, just put you in front of an audience that needs to hear it, and she shines. So
I'm definitely very passionate about it.
I love that. So yeah, real quick, number one, congratulations. Kudos to, I love hearing that you are local, out of the garage. I love those stories, right? Like born right in the back when I was in my valley, and here you are. And then I love seeing the partnership, right? Because in this business, we'll get into that in a whole other. I can already feel it coming on.
That's another episode, you guys.
Right? That's another episode.
That's another episode. But let's talk about staging.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to share why this is really important.
Yeah.
I am not a real estate agent, but I'll be really honest. I love partnering with my agents, and I have fun doing open houses.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of like to some people, but guys, I have some great conversations. Yes. I get to pre-qual some awesome clients. Yeah. And then sometimes you just get to meet people on a whole other level.
Sure.
That just leave a little imprint or whatnot, right? So anyways, I love it. But while I'm doing open houses, I also observe, right? People are there to see the home, and I'm watching the people walking through the door.
Yes.
So I have a quick story that I want to share, and that leads to why I think I did this open house in September. So this is how long.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Okay. So this is how long I've been wanting to have you come and do this interview, right? Because so I did an open house. Okay. Here it comes, guys. I did an open house, and I walked into the house. Okay. Didn't think anything of it, right? But I walked in, and I was like, wow, this is man. And this was a friend, right? And I was like, oh my God, this is so great. Like you're just so well put together. Look at this home. She's like, and she looked over, she's like, oh no, Victoria.
So this is one Victoria staged.
This was one that Victoria
okay.
staged, right? And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, she did partial staging, or I don't know if it was partial or full, right?
Well, it was supplemental staging. So they
Okay.
had some great furniture to work with, some great artwork to work with, and we just we went in for the initial consultation, told them what to edit out or change, and then we came in with stuff to supplement it.
So so that's okay. Hold on to that, right? Because
Yeah.
we've got options.
We'll
Obviously,
come
right?
back. We'll come
Okay.
back. Yeah.
So, but I walked in, right, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this home looks phenomenal, and it just. I don't know. It just set the stage for like a certain kind of energy and just like joy. And I felt light, right? Because it was just airy. And I don't know if y'all did anything in the back, but that was like a whole oasis as well. But I didn't realize even going into the backyard, right? How significant that is, that view, right?
it.
I know I fell in love with my backyard. I think it was the deal maker for me.
Absolutely.
Because there was a green belt and it was just like peace, serenity.
So you could really picture how you could live in that house, and that's the biggest reason I would say for you to get staging is because it helps buyers identify how they could live in that house. When it's a vacant home, you're walking in and you're like, okay, where does my bed go? My bed's a king. Does it fit in here? Where do I set my couch? That kind of thing. And they're worried about all that crap rather than like you had that feeling like, oh, this is serene. I can live here. I want to live like this. Yeah.
And
Also notice the verbiage that you used, though.
Yeah.
You used feelings descriptors, right?
It totally,
You
it totally
said
had
peace,
I was
serenity.
mesmerized.
Yeah, you talked a lot about feelings, and I think that a lot of people underestimate the impact of feelings when marketing any product whatsoever.
Yes,
Most definitely.
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share. So I observe people when they walk in, right? So here I am. I'm like, okay, guys, let me tell you something. The people that walk through the door, okay, we had the sign-in sheet up front. We didn't have to ask anybody to sign.
Oh, wow.
Which is major because a lot of
They're
people
like,
are like,
I'm happy to be here.
my personal,
Like,
my
I'm
personal
not lying.
information.
Guys, like, they walked in and they were, and it was right there. I mean, we didn't like tuck it away or anything. It was right there at the entry, right?
Sure.
So we didn't have to say nothing. They walked in and they're just like, hey, yeah. Okay, how long's it been on the market? Like immediate conversation, immediate smiles.
Wow.
Okay.
They got the vibe. It was a whole vibe.
It was a vibe. It was a vibe. Guys, the people that walked into the house lingered. There was no in and outs. It was like full-blown conversations, engaging. I got a prequel out of it.
Wow.
Nice.
And, you know, it was just like no other open house that I had been to. And then we got under contract 2 weeks later.
Wow. That's kind of the turnaround.
And
It's like a 2
that
week.
that was against, I think she said, like 4 other listings that had gone on the market at the same
Oh, yeah,
time.
and there was 4 other houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the
I'd love
market.
to hear that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was then at a time of the year that was not moving fast and, you know.
And so I think it was, but you know what, too? Here's the other thing. It was priced right.
Yes.
That's important.
I mean, that's, you know, just set all things aside, it was priced right because other homes, like you said, there was at least 4 others on the market, and yeah, that.
I feel like you just
important.
touched on like the 3 most important pinpoints for a listing. 1, have it staged, create that vibe, that environment of how a buyer can live in it. 2, make sure you have an open house that has a great lender to do a pre-approval. And what was the other one?
Well, pricing it
Pricing
correctly.
it right. Because when you price it right and it looks amazing, people are going to come in
they're
and
not
like
questioning.
right now I'm car shopping, right? And I know my bottom line and I know everything that I want, but it's all about the presentation and how I feel like I could, okay, yeah, I could live there. I could drive that. Visualizing yourself, that's what I'm doing.
Right.
It's the same for a house. Like, how are they going to see their children in there?
Right.
Where are their bedrooms, baby girl's bedroom going to be?
Right.
How are we going to sit? I used to call my backyard Buddha Lounge.
Yeah.
So that's one
that
of the
had
things.
that vibe.
Right.
Yes.
That little vibe.
A little deck and trees.
So,
and,
yeah, I think that's like perfect advice for realtors.
Yeah, absolutely. And ever since then, though, I go to an open house and I'm like sitting there going, have you thought about staging it? Have you talked to the seller about staging it? Have y'all looked at it? Because I'm watching people come in and it's open space. Mm-hmm. So this is what they're going to look at. Home seller, if you've emptied out your house, they're looking at all the cracks.
Yeah.
They're looking at the windowsills. They're even looking at the blinds. So even if you paint your house and you left some really old blinds, it's not complimentary.
Like, ew.
You're not helping your house. Yep. If you paint your whole house and you did the whole floor and you left the popcorn, if you have old yellow lighting.
Light bulbs. Light bulbs, you guys.
60
Simple,
watt.
Right?
Well,
LED.
Daylight specifically.
Daylight.
Yes.
Any damage your dog did to the door, at
It's
the
all over
entry, on the frames. So here's the thing.
Wow,
when the
you're so
house is vacant, all of these things, that's what you're selling.
But that's all they have to look at.
That's all they have to look at.
That's all they have
Wow.
to look
Yes.
at.
Yes.
And so that on top of the empty space. So then there's the empty space factor.
Which is lack of emotional connection.
Right? And they're like, I don't know what to do with that space. Why do I want that over there? I don't think this is going to fit over here. I don't like how that's going to look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I hear all this conversation going on in the house. And in my mind, I'm like, man, are you kidding me? That's a great space. Like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I would do this.
You're right? Because you could visualize it.
Right, I could
A lot of people
Here's
can't.
the thing, though, that statistically, only 10% of people can visualize something that is not in front of them.
I love that.
Only 10% of people, which means that you are missing the other 90% of your potential buyers
They can't see themselves
that cannot
in the
see
house.
themselves there.
90%. That's a lot of business lost.
That's a lot.
Y'all.
So another interesting statistic, though, is that buyers spend an average of just 5 minutes in a vacant home. They're in and out. It's not comfortable to them. By contrast, they spend up to 40 minutes in a staged home. So like you said, they were lingering, they were chilling.
The people that came into
there.
the house were there for a minimum of 30 to 45 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that 35-minute differential, that's the
Yes.
fall in love time.
Yes.
Now,
When they hang
imagine
out-
this is a first date, right? Imagine you're meeting some dude you met on the internet. Like I met my husband.
What's that app called?
Plenty of fish.
Plenty old fish.
Plenty of fish. So imagine
They should make one for houses. Plenty old casas or something like that.
It's called the MLS.
It's called the MLS. It's not as
So
sexy.
imagine you show up for your first date. You met somebody online and you're like, all right, I'll take a little look-see.
Yeah.
And then you go there and you're like, you know what? You got 5 minutes, I'm out.
All right. And go.
Let's go. Okay? Now, within the first 5 minutes that I met my husband, I was like, I don't like it. Don't like his attitude. Don't like the way he approached me. I just don't like it.
Wait, you did start out by saying your husband.
Right?
Right? I'm like, okay.
Now, yes. All right. I was not in the best frame of mind at that time. Now, keep in mind, my husband's online presence on the dating app, it was very dry. He had no, he was like, I can tell you what I like. I can tell you what I don't like. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Okay. He had gone through this little phase where he's like, I'm going to cut off everything except this porn stash. And I was like, and so I only had agreed to a date with him. Number one, I told him, look, before I meet you, you got to grow some other stuff because I'm not.
We can't work with this.
I'm not going to be seen with a porn stash, okay? So you let me know how many days that you need to grow some like supporting hair,
And we'll schedule.
and then we'll schedule our date
return date.
accordingly. Now, because I had this impression of him first. Now keep in mind that we're equating this to listing photos, right? Because
Please,
Let's
thank
make
you.
that clear.
almost 100% of people are going to see your home online first.
And y'all.
They'll
listing.
figure out their attitude about your house first, and then they'll see you in person. So
Y'all's
this is
listing photos. No, I can't say y'all's, but a lot of listing photos out there. Y'all got to put more effort into it. Do not do it on your iPhone.
This is
do
not
do it
2021.
at dark. You
true
got to
that.
have some.
You
really
can't just throw the stuff
professional-
up there and somebody's gonna grab it.
I have to say,
Yeah.
I'm glad keep going. But
Yes.
yes.
So now, I agreed to go on this date despite my bad attitude, right? But keep in mind, I came into the situation with these preconceived notions of this dude with a not very inviting personality. And then he had these pictures with this mustache. I was like, nah.
So you're already, the tone is set.
The tone is already set.
Expectation is set.
Yes. So then I arrived for the first date, and rather than making the entrance that I wanted to, this dude rolls up on me in the parking lot. He's like, hey, are you Victoria? I was like,
Don't be rolling up on me like that.
I mean, maybe. Who are you? So, but my general attitude going in was like, I don't think I'm gonna even like this guy.
So would you say, like comparing it to homes that you've seen on the MLS that you weren't crazy about the photos and you're like, I'll give it a try. Let me see if it's better in person. Let me see if
so
it's
I was
something
like,
the
maybe,
pictures are not showing me.
Exactly. I was like, I'll give it a chance. But my mind was a little bit already made up. So I gave him attitude the whole time. I was, and this goes back to the psychological aspect of confirmation bias. What it means is that we decide what we think about something and we look for evidence to prove ourselves right.
Spot on.
Right?
Yeah.
So now if you're getting back to the house, if you're looking at a listing photo or a series of listing photos and you're like, well, this house seems kind of crappy, but we'll give it a shot. What is the overriding message? You go into the house.
Negotiations are going to be difficult.
Yes, you go into the house, though, looking for confirmation that this house is kind of crappy, right? So right away, you've put yourself at a disadvantage because this is already the impression that people are coming in with. So keep in mind that your listing photos can both dictate the quantity of the traffic that you receive, how many people are willing to come see you in person, but also the quality of the traffic that you receive. And that has to do with people's mindsets as they're coming in, right?
I like that you pointed this out. So, and I say this is not 2021, guys. So, as you were talking, I was reminded about our house, and we had been shopping for a minute, and it was during the 2020, lowest rates ever, kind of season, right?
Yeah.
Well, the house that we ended up choosing, I bypassed so many times because while they had great, like the downstairs had been kind of like redone or whatnot, but they had posted the upstairs, and the upstairs was not redone. The cabinetry was old, but the paint. So the kids, I guess, for whatever reason, doors were painted this yucky brown. There was purple like highlighter markers on the doors.
Oh, unacceptable.
Just all kinds of they were. Every time I would look at it, I was like, oh.
And to you, you're saying, this is yucky and this is work.
Right. And so, but here's the thing, right? So after, in the hot market that it was, right, my options were very limited, and I dwindled down to 5 houses that we had looked at everything, right? And so finally, a last resort, went in there, and I fell in love with the backyard. In this moment, it had been on the market 52 days.
Wow.
I was willing to ask the moment we walked in. They dropped at 15.
Oh.
Why? No showings, no viewings,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So I got like the perfect opportunity, and I can tell you why nobody was looking for it, was because where it was priced, and just the color, like just that whole mismatch of upstairs and downstairs, it was a disservice. It was a total disservice. You would have had more people come through had you not even posted those photos upstairs, right? And
That would be another podcast to talk about, like the top 5 renovation tasks to do prior to listing your home.
oh yeah,
It's going to bring you the highest
return, right? Right? Because I
Resale
see,
value.
and then I see people pour like $30,000 into what they think is like wow. And it's like nobody else thinks that. Nobody else thinks that.
All
Do
these
some
light
research.
fixtures you picked out, they're only cute to you.
No, yes,
Right?
yes. Or, I've got like the best paint, but it's the wrong color. So you can have the best quality paint, but not the right color, right? So share with us, because I want to definitely, so this is the thing, guys. I sit in these open houses, and it kills me to, number one, see my agents, because I'm here to partner with agents to help them get a deal. And it kills me to have or see anybody struggling
The struggle
to sell the property. And then I see the price drop and I'm like, oh, instead of doing the price drop, could we have maybe considered,
Yes.
seller credits or obviously staging, right?
So consider that your first price drop, it has to be significant enough to move your list price into a different bracket. And so that typically ends up being around $10,000, $5,000 at a minimum. You don't pay anywhere near that to stage.
Thank you for saying that.
So it's your staging is less expensive than your first price drop. It also
you mean instead of doing the price drop, maybe somebody could get staging and still have room to offer a seller credit?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is room.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Now, as you said, we're not in 2021 anymore, so the
Right.
market is different. So what that means is that buyer expectation is up. And the higher the list price, the higher the expectation.
Right.
So what buyers are dealing with is lack of affordability. They're dealing with interest rates that are going to impact that affordability at a greater, impact. And then even if they can qualify for that home, they're not going to have anything left to do the upgrades that you should have done as the seller.
Right.
So they have no tolerance for anything that is not turnkey.
Right.
Now, there are ways that you can help them see a space that is maybe not as updated as it could be, but we can help them see the potential.
Right. Yeah. And I was
right?
going to say plant the seed for, and that's kind of what happened for me, right? Where I was like, I don't care. I don't care what this color is. I can deal with that.
Right.
Because at that, you know what I'm saying?
But you also are a part of that 10% that can see things that are not there.
Yeah.
You are not the 90%.
Yeah.
So we really need
have to help the 90%.
Yes, we need to help the 90%.
Gotta help that 90%.
And really what I think that people need to really, really dig into is the concept that we are marketing a product. And the marketing of any product is an aspirational endeavor, right? So our job is to make people think if you buy this product, your life will be better.
Right.
Right?
Interesting.
And so we get to people via their emotions. So getting back to that emotion idea. So when people buy anything at all, their feelings are involved. Whether they're buying a pair of shoes or a new purse or a new car or a new house.
Got to make us feel good.
Has to make us feel good.
Yeah.
The bigger the purchase, the bigger the feelings. If you are not addressing people's hearts, if you are not getting them in their feelings, then you are not getting their offers.
Right.
People don't feel much about a vacant home, hence why they only spend 5 minutes there. They're like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
People cannot interpret the purpose, the proportions, or the potential of a home without the contextual information that staging
Right.
offers. So
Right.
those are my 3 Ps.
Yeah.
If you are going to force people to place value on every square footage, you need to be addressing and showcasing the purpose, the potential, and the proportions of a space.
You down with PPP?
Yeah.
You don't. She took it old school.
I know.
We were trying to be classy here.
That might
Sorry.
need to be the intro music. Okay.
I like it. I like it. But ultimately, our goal is to drive value.
Right.
Is to showcase value in a way that provokes offers.
Right. And I think, and again, it's about we want to help people win.
Yes.
This is going to help the seller, but this is also going to help the buyer, right? Because
100%.
when we are in this, number one, I don't think I can ever say that homeownership is not going to be worth it. In this market, though, we are feeling like home buyers are feeling like you're having to buy under or less, or you're not getting to walk away with as much. And so we really have to do a better job of helping them feel like, yeah, I do want this, I can have this, and this is like the potential of it, right? Because even as I bought my house, right, it took me a while to furnish it. It took me a while to do the things, and I still have like a laundry list of things that I want to do, right? But
Always, yeah.
I saw the vision for the potential. That's all I needed, right? And that is what we need to give. And
Absolutely.
so I'm constantly asking people, but for the purpose of this, right, I want agents to understand or know And then also sellers, right, to know, because sellers are looking to their agents to guide them. And so, like, I met with a buyer. I had a buyer consult the other night, and their agent told them to empty out their house. Empty it out completely. She had great furniture. Now all that furniture is stuck in storage.
Wow.
This is a high-priced home in a high, like, it should have been staged, right? And so what does it leave when you walk in? Now it's kind of like, oh, it hasn't been cleaned, or this hasn't, or the
There's
touch
spider
up. Now
web,
you see the
or
top,
dead bugs, or
right,
whatever, yeah.
right. And so it's like, gosh, it's such a disservice, right? So sellers need to know too. How does one? I love that you've created. So Victoria has these amazing flip books that talk about who they are, redefined homes, things to consider, your checklist, your rooms. How to stage, just there's so much stuff in here. I love it. And then even, like a lot of content, guys. Everything from whether staging the kitchen to the outdoor, and then the statistics. Okay, look, guys, I'm a statistics person, right?
I love statistics too.
I love that. Remember when I reached out to you, I'm like, do you have stats? Because when I tell
of course I do.
she did, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so right. Because why sit on the market if you can make this small investment up front, give like red carpet service, right?
To get referrals.
To obtain referrals, right? Because
but also,
then other people.
Also, ultimately, this is about keeping the power on your side of that negotiation table. And how you keep power is by dictating how things go, right? So this is
proving
like
your results.
Yes, but it's like showing up to a job interview. You force people to place value on you by the way that you present yourself. I love yoga pants and a t-shirt. I love it.
Me too.
I am never going to show up to a job interview in yoga pants and a t-shirt because I will not allow somebody to underestimate my value. Right? And so the way that we see people showing up on their listing, yoga pants and a t-shirt is great. Imagine you show up to that same job interview just naked. You'd be like, clearly I've had some babies. Clearly this body has seen some age. That's not a. But if you show up in a suit, in a dress, in a whatever it is that makes you feel confident and ready to present,
you're communicating value all the way around.
Communicating value.
And to that point too, when you started talking on that, I realized, you know what, and when you're having these open houses, so many people in the neighborhood are coming over, and a lot of people are like, I didn't get any buyers. It was mostly like nosy neighbors. And I'm like, how do you know they're not like neighbors about to become sellers?
Yes.
And so when they walk in, you've got an opportunity to sell your services.
Absolutely.
When you say, yes, like I staged this home, or I did this. This is a part of the service that I provide.
That's literally your job interview.
Yes.
For that potential client is how at that open house or your listing, how you're listing
social
that.
Proof.
That's social proof
Oh,
right there.
I love that. Yes.
And if you are doing, like people that we know doing a Facebook Live, if you are, posting pictures and whatever, then you are reaching an audience that showcases you as a professional, the value that you bring to the table, your unique value proposition that sets you apart from the 15,000 other agents in San Antonio.
Right.
The people that you associate with and align with also helps to prove your value.
Right.
Because you are leveraging your partner's audience as well. You are leveraging your partner's relationship. So presentation really is everything, and it can keep the power on your side of the table.
Right. Yeah.
And absolutely. I don't know any seller that doesn't want to feel like they have some power over their outcome.
Right.
When you're talking real quick, when you're talking about presentation, it also is about your listing presentation. So if you go in and you are fully prepared saying, this is how I list my property, we stage it, we do photography, we do this, X, Y, and Z, I'm going to host this kind of open house. She also provides a listing a document to add into your listing presentation so that you can show what her services are. Let her sell that. Let her come in and do the consultation for you and get that house ready. A lot of times as realtors, we try to wear all the hats. We've got a team. We've got our resources. We have our relationships that we've built. Let them come in and do that for you so that you look like an amazing realtor and get more referrals. So I just wanted to say that.
I think the
Absolutely.
ability to delegate
I got a guy.
and to delegate efficiently puts you at a higher level in the hierarchy of people.
Yeah.
So they're not looking at you as the help anymore. And we, as a realtor, I think we've all been in a position where people treat us like the help, right? But if you put yourself at the top of that hierarchy and you have people that you're delegating to, a team of experts that you're like,
Team of experts,
when
yeah.
you employ me as your realtor, you don't just get me, you get my whole team of experts,
And
and
I
we're
love
all
that.
dedicated to your success.
And I love that because even in your book, in the book you sent me, right? She's got a ton of service providers.
Yes, we have a
I
whole
love that,
directory of
right?
preferred
Like,
service
literally.
providers.
And I'm like, I don't even know if people know to think of these things, right? But I'm like, I've got contacts now, right? That I'm
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
So many people have said, "Can you send that to me? Can you send that to me?"
I love that.
And our job is to empower people.
Right. So for okay, you said so much there that yeah.
Your
I'm
mind's
like,
like,
my brain's like,
I love this.
But so the analytics, right? There was something else that I wanted to say. Oh, your thoughts, right? Because when I sometimes have brought up the conversation of staging, and people say, "Oh yeah, well I do virtual staging." I'm just going to say this. I see some virtual staging, and when photos are out there and it's been virtually staged, I also get to watch the expression of people walking in the house going,
This ain't that. Yeah.
right.
So it's a little bit like being catfished.
Exactly.
It is,
It
guys.
is.
And
Now,
when you tweak the yard,
Yeah.
when the yard gets tweaked and made to look
You're
like luxurious, and you get there and it's just dirt.
That's tough.
Oh, that's so hard.
It
to
erodes buyer
overcome.
confidence.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Ultimately.
So, I mean, in my eyes, I'm like, just don't post it. You know, I don't know.
No,
What are your
I'll
thoughts?
say
What are your thoughts?
I think that there's a
Because-
time and a place for virtual staging, and very often that happens on a tight budget. So I will say this about virtual staging. Not all virtual staging is created equal. Some people do it excellently, and I can provide you with some resources for people who do that at a high level. But number two, what virtual staging does is that, yes, it can help you drive traffic. Absolutely. You will probably see more traffic come to your listing. And if your listing can stand in front of their audience naked and still convey value, then you'll probably get some offers. On the other hand, if your listing is already struggling, if it's outdated, if there are tight spaces, if there are awkward proportions or unclear purpose, then that virtual staging will have done nothing to overcome those things.
Oh, that's such a good point. I love that.
So we still have the in-person experience to contend with. Most offers, there are some exceptions, obviously. There are some people who buy things sight unseen, but usually those are investors who don't intend to live there, right?
Yeah.
Most people are not going to buy a house sight unseen if they intend to live there and have their daily quality of life affected by their choice.
Right.
So we have to plan for that in-person experience. And if that in-person experience doesn't match up to the online expectation,
Yeah.
much like if you've been catfished by somebody, you're like, oh, that's a nice picture with all the filters. If you show up in person, you're like, that's you? You've already lost the game,
Yeah. This
right?
is so
Buyer
true.
confidence has been eroded, and you have actually, your efforts have been counter to your success.
Right, right. So, what is the best way for someone? So, you've got some awesome, I love that you've got this flip book. I love that you have the process and pricing.
Yes. Transparency is super important to me.
Yes. And so I'm going to be definitely sharing all of the websites and
Yes.
information
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
people can get a better idea. Real quick, what are the top 3 rooms that should, without a doubt, get staged?
Number one, the living room. Number one. People spend 90% of their waking hours parked with their butt in that couch. The living room matters. It's also the most common space to welcome guests.
Right.
So
Yeah.
your ability to like stunt on your friends is going to be affected by the living room first and foremost. Okay. Number 2 is the kitchen, and those numbers are not my opinion. These are numbers that have been studied and published by the National Association of Realtors. Statistics. We love them. So kitchens are most important. They are generally considered the heart of the home, but they're also often the most expensive renovations to do. So when people walk in, they're hearing like cha-ching, 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 that's going to cost me, that's going to cost me, that's going to cost me. And they're deducting that from their tolerance for your list price.
Wow. I'm glad you touched on that.
Yeah,
It's true.
It's impactful. And so they're going to use their displeasure to negotiate with you. And sometimes it's going to be a little bit offensive to you as a seller.
What do you think the third one is?
Point. Huh?
What do you think the third room of the house is to get
The master or primary.
the primary?
Yeah.
Yes.
Primary now.
The primary bedroom, and that includes the primary bathroom as well.
Okay.
Why is that? Well, this is the place where the people who pay the mortgage are going to sleep.
Right.
And they better feel good at night about that mortgage payment. And so that many other things are tolerated and tolerable. But if you miss those top 3 things, it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you.
So as far as seller, they want a stage, but obviously they're having a stage. They're not going to have money until they stage. What kind of option would a seller have to maybe pay for that staging, or how does that get handled?
Well, that's a good question, and it's a question that we come across often. We do get paid up front. However, we do have the option to offer afterpay. So you can take it in payments. We also are partners with Curbio. So if you employ our services through Curbio, then you can take advantage of their pay at close options. We're working on some other options because we understand that budget is a factor. I do think that across the board, it's just always worth it.
Yeah.
So if it's something that perhaps you pay for with a credit card or something, just know that you are going to get, on average, your return on investment is going to be about 4 times of what you invest.
I love that. And there's even the statistics, right, on terms of like offers made on home stage.
Yes.
Versus like getting under
asking versus over asking. Absolutely. And that can be like 10% over asking, sometimes 20%. It depends on the market, depends on the location and your realtor's ability to market. But it definitely gives you a better chance of conveying value and commanding higher offers.
I love it. So guys, takeaway, right? Agents, this is like a bloodline to help your business grow, to create value for yourself professionally, for your seller, and for the people walking through the door, right? Because they're needing to see the value in what you have, one way or the other. Whether it's somebody that's looking to list their home or somebody's trying to dream of like see themselves in that home, right? You're creating value all the way around.
Right.
So. Thank you, ladies, so much for doing this. I'm really excited to get to share this. And I'm going to put some information. I'll include all the links and resources for how people can reach out and follow your page. Do you have any direct page information, website? How can people connect, find you?
StagingSA.com is her website.
Thank you.
And you can see her on Instagram and Facebook.
The Refined Home LLC.
Wonderful.
If you're an agent and you are struggling with a listing, DM me or text me. My phone number is 210-802-7708.
She's giving her number out to y'all.
It's private. But I will look at a listing for you and give you some feedback on that and just let you know, like, hey, even if you don't use me, at least tell your clients this. I will be happy to email you my flip book so that you can share it with your sellers, so that you can have the resources that you need to have an effective conversation with them about how to properly market your listing. I am here to be a resource. And so any way that I can help, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Absolutely. Thank you, ladies.
Yes,
my
so,
pleasure.
let's help people sell more homes.
Let's do
Come
it.
on. All right. Thank
to
you.
people.